Guys, welcome back to the channel. We are going to run through Act 9.2.6 Path 2, starting with Symbiote Supreme. The nodes are Wilted Ward, 1-2 Punch, Power Snack, Down and Out, and Powerful. Now this is going to be the hardest path in 9.2.6, so please be advised to bring a counter for a very nasty Super Skrull and Spider Supreme at the end of the path. The defenders will gain protection with Wilted Ward node, so we can remove it using a striker while having a petrify, wither, or suppression on the defenders. Naturally, science champions with easy access to wither, petrify, or suppression will work best. A striker is needed not only for the path but also for the boss. I would also advise you to boost really strong so you can finish the path faster, and also it will help on the Lotan Boss. Your top options for the path will be She-Hulk, either version, Spidey 2099 preferably with anti-venom synergy, and Venom, as all of them have easy access to wither, petrify, or suppression. We are going to tackle the Lotan Boss without any trap node, so the vanilla version, so stick till end of the video for a breakdown boss fight. Jumping onto the path, the first fight is against the Symbiote Supreme. Notice the grey timer underneath the defender's health bar that gives him 20% protection every 14 seconds. Now we can remove that protection by a striker activation while the defender is inflicted with a petrify, wither, or suppression effect. There is a 1-2 punch node that gives the defenders a petrify when knocked down while suffering from a power sting, weakness, or a slow. So this helps you broaden the choice of counters for this path. The defender gains 100% bar of power every 7 seconds when a buff is nullified on the opponent with the Power Snack 4 node. But don't worry, you can use it to your advantage as the defender will instead lose power if they have a petrify or wither applied to them when the Power Snack triggers. The defender is also immune to Power Lock, Power Steal, Burn, Drain, and Lock anyway, with the node Powerful. So size champions with wither, petrify, or suppression is the only way to go. And finally, take care of the cross counter node that applies on you whenever you knock down the opponent. You are required to use a special attack within 10 seconds to not lose 50% of your HP. The easiest way to counter is to use special attacks only for knockdown, or use heavy attack only when you have a special attack ready. Now jumping onto the path, we are on fight number 2, that is against Symbiote Supreme. So I am using a Count of Area here, trying to parry the last hit of his SP2 so I can apply those energy vulnerability, and I am trying to only hit Spiderman Symbiote only when he is stunned while he has a evade charge on him. So that was an SP2, just throwing my SP1 out to gain some of those energy charges, and now only 3 hits in a parry so I can avoid the evade totally. Pushing him to an SP2 again, so again evaded his special 2. I can go back in and attack him, so you can rinse and repeat that and bring him down. So used my evade again, trying to get as much of those the energy iconic charge on me, but then the problem is he just keeps evading me, but that's okay, I gained the iconic charge anyway. So here we are with a big SP2 with 15 of those furies, and look at that damage, 94,000. So just like that, we are able to take down Spiderman Symbiote. Again, an evade, 3 hit combos. Made a mistake there, I should have just blocked, but that's okay. Parry, medium, light, medium into an SP2, and that should be enough to take out Spiderman Supreme. Moving on to the third fight, that is going to be an Ultron. I'm going to use a Deathless She-Hulk, so I have to be careful about the evade from Ultron and I have to play around it. I cannot knock Ultron down until I have a special attack, but the big catch here is that I have to apply wither on him before I can knock him down, so I can remove the protection with the striker. So now that I have a suppression up, if I use a striker now, that is going to remove that protection on him, that is reducing the damage taken by 20% for every stack. So there is the SP1, I use my striker and remove the protection, and I have an SP2 ready again. So if you're using a Deathless She-Hulk for this part, make sure that you don't spam your SP1s, go for the SP2s, and that should be enough to take out the defender pretty quick. All the extra damage from the trauma will also help you take down your opponents faster. Now moving on to fight number 4, I have a Mephisto against me, so I brought in a dedicated counter that is going to be Void because he's immune to Incinerate. Now this is going to be a typical slow fight with your Void, but you don't have to worry about the Incinerate damage, so make sure you bring in the right champions. You can either bring in champions that have some kind of energy resistance, so your Photon will work, your Count Nefaria will work amazing. Void is an ultimate counter for this guy, one of the oldest counters in the book. And also you can bring any other champion that is science champion that has some kind of energy resistance. They will work well, or they are incinerate immune. Both of them work well. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm only using my specials. I'm only knocking down Mephisto with my special attacks. I'm not using a heavy attack at all. And I'm waiting for that Petrify buff. As soon as he applied, you notice that I used a Striker there. And that removed all of those protection buffs on him, and I can go in and do full attack. Now once the Fear of Void is up on Mephisto, I don't have to worry about the power gain. It just becomes like a very simple fight. Again, I am just going to save my Striker until I throw my special ones, until I get a Petrify, and once I have the Petrify on the next one, I'm gonna use my Striker. So 2 protections there, both of them removed with a Striker, and we are good to go. So just like that, slowly you can take him out. Usually I like to get hit by the last wave that he throws, projectile on his SP1 to remove his charges, but that's okay. Void takes him out anyway. So this is going to be a fight where you might need like a specialty counter. You can play around it as well, but I think the best 2 options or 3 options to take Mephisto out is going to be a Void, Count Nefaria, and also Photon. All of them work really well. You can also bring in Anti-Venom. He's also immune to Incinerate, so he can work well too. And here we are, Mephisto is down. We are moving on to the 2 difficult fights of the path. The first fight of the difficult ones is going to be Super Skrull. Now I would not advise you to bring in Joe Fixit. I would advise you to bring a champion that can counter the miss, unless you're super comfortable with the mechanics of Super Skrull. The only reason I did not bring in Photon here because Photon is a little iffy when it comes to applying the suppression or Petrify. The window is very small, so you have to use your Striker precisely. Otherwise, she is a bit hard to deal with when it comes to the Wilted Ward node. So what I'm trying to do here is just hit him in the block and get 4 of my spades up for extra damage, and not to mention the Petrify that is so important. So I'm waiting for him to throw that special attack. He's unblockable right now. And now I'm gonna use my SP1 ending with a medium combo, and that there is the Petrify on him. Now during the Petrify I have to use a Striker so I can remove 3 of those crazy protections that is reducing the damage by 60%. I was able to do that. I just blocked the SP2 is much safer, otherwise the Incinerate damage is crazy. It is a slow fight from my end, but because I didn't bring in like a specially counter. I did bring in a Photon, but she is a bit iffy. Again, I want to be able to remove those protections as quick as possible so I can get Super Skrull down. The bleeds are doing a lot, so now I have after I used my special one, I applied Wither again on Super Skrull. So all I'm trying to do is to get to my Striker very quick with the same 4 of those cards, and then I can use a special one again, and that will again apply a Petrify. So that is the name of the game. I just absolutely love Joe Fixit and his kit, so that's why I tend to use him a lot, and I'm able to control the power of Super Skrull. Here we are. I'm trying to keep him to an SP1 only because the SP2 can do some really crazy damage, and to deal with the falter, what I try to do is when he throws a SP1 out, I try to dash in after the first hit so I can activate the falter on me, so I don't have to worry about getting missed and everything. So this is a near perfect fight that I was able to do with Super Skrull, just waiting for him to throw a heavy attack, and there is another Petrify on him. So as long as I have the Petrifies and I use my special attack, use my Striker, I am good to go. I'm going to remove all of those protections, block the SP2 the safest way, and I am able to bring down Super Skrull quite comfortably in the end. But you have to play it right. I would suggest bringing another champion that can bypass the miss, so that would be a better option. The next one and the final fight is going to be Spiderman Supreme. Now preferably bring a champion that does not gain any buffs. So Spiderman 2099 would be good here. Titania would be good because if you don't gain any buff, you're not going to trigger the invisibility. But if you don't have that champion, you can always bring in a champion that has a miss counter. And notice I am blocking his SP1s. I'm not trying to evade them because I don't want to give him power. And I'm also using only parry and light attacks. I'm not using a heavy attack because if I use a heavy attack, there will be a cross counter charge and I will have to use special. All I'm doing is using parry and light, and that is working out for me, and I am using my special attacks. Now I want you to notice here, there are already 2 charges on Spiderman Supreme and his damage is being reduced. Even though he's going invisible, I don't really care right now because I am in pure light form and I'm able to bypass his miss. But the problem here that happens to me that you will notice, I will get to 5 of those protections and I am not able to time my striker right because the debuff duration from Photon is very little, so you have to really time the striker right. Eventually I learned that if you use a striker on the 4th hit, that is the perfect timing and that removes all of those protection. So you will notice here this fight should have been finished by now, but I am still not able to time for that protection. I did it once before, so I know she works, but the whole thing is to get the timing right on that striker while the petrify or power suppression is up on Spiderman Supreme. So here I'm not doing any damage to him and I'm trying my best, but it's not working out. I'm still blocking the special ones, and there we go. I'm going to throw another SP2 here and build up to my striker so I can use that. Right at this point he's not taking any damage because he has more than 5 protections and they are stacking. Every protection reduces the damage by 20%. So 1 2 3 striker, didn't work out, so I have to go back it again. I have to fill up my striker again. So that took quite a while for me to get that protection down. The good thing is I don't have to worry about the miss because I do get into pure light form, so that really saves me. So make sure that you bring in a really good counter for this fight because this fight can be super duper annoying. So I have my striker again, 3 4, and next time around I was able to time it well and I was able to remove all of those protections. So just be careful about that. Make sure you time it right if you're going to use a photon, and there we go. Spiderman Supreme is down and we are done with the path. That was a very quick path. We are able to finish it off in almost 10 minutes. So now, as I have all the size champions, I don't need to change any champion. And the first phase on Lotan, it starts. In this phase, to gain a smite charge, I have to push Jane Foster in her corner of the wall and then my smite charge will be active. And then there are 2 smite commands, ending my combo with a medium. It can be mediums, it can be light mediums, or it can be a 5-hit combo, medium, light, medium. That removes 4 charges, and if you use an SP1 while Lotan is in on her side of the wall, you also reduce 4 charges. So I'm down to 4 and boom. And because Deathless She-Hulk has those trauma charges, she is removing extra desecrated charges, 1 for every smite command you fulfill. So you will notice every time I finish with a medium attack or I throw a special, I'm removing 5 instead of 4. So that really helps you get through the phase 1 super quick. This is going to be the last hit to sanctify her, and now I can do all the damage in the world and bring her down to 1%. That is going to trigger the second phase. Now she is going to gain 1 corrupted seal charge and the hammer is going to restore the health and everything, and now we are in 2. So right away you will notice I am backing in the wall and I have a striker ready. Make a habit of having the striker ready and then start with a light into a striker and then light combo again, and just like that she is down to 6 desecrated charges. When you are backed in the wall, your smite charge is active, and the first and the 4th medium will each reduce the desecrated charges by 2, and you can also use a striker to reduce the desecrated charges by 4. So right here she is sanctified. I'm just gonna do quite a bit of damage, as much as possible. I think I throw my SP2 here to bring her down to 40%. Now again smite charge is active. I'm just gonna stay back, dex and parry, and then light into a striker, and then again light, and that is going to reduce almost 12 charges. So all I need to do now is to back up in the wall again, parry her, and then use light again, and she will be sanctified. So just waiting for her to stop throwing her heavy attacks. Still, she got one more extra charge, so I have to back in the wall. Once my smart charge is active in the green, only then I can use my light, and she is sanctified, and I just dropped her off with an SP2. I should have saved it for the third phase, but that's okay. Now in phase number 3, you will notice the Maelstrom size has shrunk considerably and you have one extra corrupted seal charge. So here the smite charge is active when you are in between the Maelstrom and away from your wall. So there's a very small place that you can do this fight. The smite commands are going to be parry the opponent, but remember she is going to be stun immune, so you will need reparry. For every parry, you're going to reduce the desecrated charges by 2, and if you use an SP2, you're going to reduce the charges by 6. So you will need the SP2 to finish off this phase faster. So I've got only 4 remaining. Here's an SP2. Well, I messed it up because I was in the Maelstrom. I wasn't in the area designated in between the Maelstrom and the wall, so my smite charge wasn't active when I used my special 2. So that's why I wasn't able to remove those charges. But no worries, I just used my reparry and brought her down into sanctified and did 50% of the damage, around 42%. Now again, I have to parry and reparry and make sure that my smite charge is active when I'm doing that. Now I have my SP2, I'm ready to do some damage. Now I'm going to throw my SP2, that's 6 charges gone, and just one parry is going to send her into sanctification. And here we are doing all sorts of damage. Just use my striker so I can keep the damage combo going. I think I'm going to save the SP2 here again because of the desecrated charges. So I'm going to reparry, find my opening, and then use my SP2 here. Boom. And she's down to 2 charges already, and reparry technique, and there she is. I'm able to take her down to phase 4. She's going to restore all of her health. And in phase 4, the Maelstrom is super small, but now it becomes more challenging because she has to be in the Maelstrom while you evade either her basic attacks or you evade the hits from her special attack. So you have to be in it. Just keep an eye on the smite charge icon, that should be activated and you should be good. Also, if you use a heavy attack in this phase, you are going to reduce I think 6 charges. So Dex, I'm down to 10, Dex again down to 8. Now I am not inside the Maelstrom, so I have to push her back in the Maelstrom, activate my smite charge, and then if you notice, once I evade, I'm reducing the charges also. Here we are. Now I'm just gonna use my heavy attack here after the striker, and that's gonna remove 6 charges and send her into sanctification. And here we are doing all sorts of damage, and I am going to use an SP2 at the end of it in hopes of bringing her down, but there are still 5% remaining. So as long as she is in the cloud, I am able to remove those desecrated charges with either a dex on the basic hits or a dex on the special attack hits. Now this is not going to help me because she's not in the Maelstrom, so I have to push her back. My striker is ready. I'm going to use a striker. I'm going to use a heavy attack, so that's 6 of those charges gone. One more dex and I should be good. I should be able to dex in the specials, and she's already sanctified, and that's about it. We are able to push her into phase 5. Here she's going to restore her health. Now we have 5 corrupted seals. Now when we knock her down, she's going to be dead. But this is going to be difficult because I have to make her throw all the special attacks so I can evade the last hit of the special. So dex, and charge in, and the untouchable helps me avoid the hammer, and that reduces 3 desecrated charges from Lotan. So again, dex and charge in, and that reduces 3 charges. So I have to do that over and over again to bring her down to 0 desecrated charges so she can be sanctified. But I don't have much health. I'm doing my best to solo and charge in, give her another SP1. There we go. And again, because I have so many trauma buffs, she is going to throw that SP1 again. Dex, and charge in, and she is sanctified. I do quite a bit of damage here, but I'm still not able to take her down, and I just die there. But that's okay. I come back with Joe Fix-It, and again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to push her to an SP1. There we go. And now is showtime. She's going to throw that SP1, and I'm going to Dex and charge in and remove 3 desecrate charges. Again, SP1, Dex, charge in. I mistimed it a little bit. I charged a bit earlier, so I wasn't able to remove any charges, so you have to be careful about that. So Dex, and when the hammer is halfway, you charge in and you remove the desecrated charges. And just like that, we will sanctify her and kill her off. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you found it helpful. Make sure to check out the Lotan guide on my channel with a complete breakdown with more explanation, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!